All right, everyone, settle in. We're going to cut right to the chase today and talk about the absolute bedrock of our security, SSL and TLS. Now, this isn't just some abstract concept. It's fundamental to how we protect our servers, our data, and our users. So, let's dive in.
First, let me ask you a question to get us started. Imagine if your bank, instead of using a secure app, just sent your password and account balance on a postcard. Anyone who handled your mail, the mail carrier, your neighbor, could read it. It sounds completely insane, right?
Well, that's exactly what happens online every single time you connect to a website that doesn't have that little padlock icon. It's the digital equivalent of sending a postcard. Your passwords, your personal information, all of it is just flying across the internet in plain text, totally exposed. And our job is to make sure that never, ever happens.
So, how do we fix this? With encryption, of course. Now, the first method, symmetric encryption, is super fast, but it has this one giant fatal flaw. You have to share the one key that both locks and unlocks the data. If a hacker grabs that key while it's being sent, it's game over. That's where asymmetric encryption comes in. It is an absolutely elegant solution that uses a two-key system, and it underpins basically everything we're about to discuss.
The best way to think about it is with a simple lock and key. Imagine you hand out hundreds of open padlocks to everyone you know. That's your public key. Anyone can take one of your padlocks, put a message in a box, and snap it shut. But, and this is the crucial part, only you have the one single unique key that can open any of those locks. That's your private key. The most important thing to remember, burn this into your brain, the private key is never, ever shared.
Okay, so let's see how this plays out in the real world. First, let's talk about securing our own fort, how we control who gets access to our internal servers using SSH. This is all about making sure only our own team can get through the door.
And it all starts on your local machine. You just open up a terminal and run this one simple command, SSH keygen. You hit enter, and just like that, you've created your own personal set of keys, your lock and your key, which gets stored away in a hidden folder on your computer.
That command creates two really important files. The first one, idrsa.pub, is your public key. That's the padlock. It's meant to be copied and shared. You'll put this on any server you need to get into. But the other file, the one just called idrsa, that's your private key. You guard that one. It should never, ever leave your machine.
So how does the server know to trust you? It's actually dead simple. An administrator just takes the contents of your public key, that idrsa.pub file, and pastes it as a new line in a special file on the server called authorized keys. That's it. You're now on the server's VIP list, and you can log in securely without ever needing a password. Okay, perfect. Our internal house is in order. Now let's take that same principle and apply it to our public front door, HTTPS. This is how we prove to the entire world that we are who we say we are, and how we protect our users' data.
But hang on, this brings up a huge problem. If we're just giving our public key, our padlock, to every browser that comes along, what's to stop an attacker from setting up a fake website, creating their own set of keys, and tricking users into thinking they're on the real site? How does your browser know it's talking to the real us?
And the answer to that problem is a digital certificate. You can think of this like a passport or a driver's license for our server. It's an official ID that bundles our public key together with verified information about who we are, like our company name and, most importantly, our exact domain name. Now here's the kicker. Your browser is smart. It's skeptical. It's not just going to trust some ID card we printed in our basement. Browsers only trust certificates that have been officially signed and issued by a small number of highly trusted, globally recognized organizations called certificate authorities, or CAs. This whole verification system is called the chain of trust. Here's how it works. First, we use our private key to generate a formal application called a certificate signing request. We send that to a CA. They then do their homework. They verify our identity, they make sure we actually own the domain we claim to, and once they're satisfied, they use their own incredibly well-protected private key to digitally sign our certificate, essentially saying, yep, we've checked these guys out, they're legit. And that first step, creating the application, this is the command you'd use. You use a tool called OpenSL, point it to your private key, and it generates that certificate signing request file, the CSR. This is the official paperwork you send off to the CA to get the ball rolling. So let's put it all together. This is the TLS handshake. A browser connects to our server. We send back our signed certificate. The browser checks the signature against the CA's public key, which is already baked right into the browser itself. So far, so good. Now, here comes the genius part. That asymmetric encryption is secure, but it's a little slow. So the browser creates a brand new, one-time use symmetric key. It uses our public key to safely wrap up that new key and sends it over. We use our private key to unwrap it, and bam, now both sides have a shared secret. And the rest of the session uses that super fast, secure connection. It is truly the best of both worlds.
We are almost done. The system itself is brilliant, right? But its strength, its entire integrity, comes down to how we handle the keys. So this last part is about your most important job, proper key management.
This table gives you a fantastic high-level view of the whole process. But look closely. Notice how everything, from our internal SSH access to that final secure HTTPS session with a user, it all starts with step 1, generating that initial key pair. It really drives home how critical managing those keys is.
All right, pop quiz. Let's make sure this is crystal clear. You're on a server and you see these two file types. Which extension tells you this is the secret? Guard it with your life. Is it .crt or .key?
If you said .key, you're 100% correct. The .cert or .pem file is your public certificate. That's your passport. You show it to everyone. But the .key file, that is your private key. That is the one thing that must never, ever be made public.
And protecting it really boils down to 3 things. 1, secrecy. Just treat it like the master key to the entire kingdom. 2, file permissions. On a Linux server, you lock it down so only the absolute core system can read it. That chmod 400 command is your best friend. And 3, location. Never, ever, ever store it in a public web directory or check it into a code repository like Git. That is a catastrophic, resume updating kind of mistake.
I'll leave you with this one final thought. You can have the most expensive, most trusted, ironclad certificate in the world, and it is completely useless if the private key is sitting on someone's desktop. The whole system hinges on that one file. Your number one job, protect the key. Any questions?